We're back and better than ever, guys. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, wow, we're in for a real treat because today I'm going to be talking all about my university experience. Is this crooked? Yeah. Is that still crooked? Probably. I have been so excited to film this video, but I also have been putting it off a lot because I feel like I have so much to say and so much to share, and I don't know how I'm going to share it all in one video. So anticipate a follow-up. And I also want to say, if there's anything I don't get to in this video, if I don't mention it, I don't talk about anything specific that you want to know about, please leave it as a comment down below or a question, and I can either answer it in another video or answer your comment. Because you know what? Inevitably, I'm not going to get to everything, and I'm going to be editing this and be like, Emily, how could you forget to mention this? So, should we just get started? I don't know. Okay, it's so weird. So today I was planning on filming this video, and I've been checking every day for a confirmation that I'm actually graduating because I have this like weird fear that they're gonna be like, oh, actually you're missing 15 million credits, and I'd be like, duh! So I've been waiting, and I was just gonna film this video regardless of that today after I finished work. And at work today I checked my email and I got that confirmation, and I was like, oh my god, it's a sign. So here I am. Anyways, a little rant over. Okay, let's start with my university experience from the very beginning. High school Emily. I graduated high school in June, and I went to university in September, so I took no time off. I literally just had the summer, and I worked over the summer, and then I went to a local university that was really more of like a college, but they called it a university, and it was like 20 minutes away from my parents' house. I only applied to 2 universities when I graduated high school, and I really don't remember that application process, to be honest with you guys. I don't know, I really don't think that I really believed that I could get into other schools, which I probably could have. So I guess first piece of advice is like, don't sell yourself short because you miss out on lots of opportunities. And I don't regret doing it, but just something to take in consideration, I guess. So I got into both the schools I applied to, and I chose to go to the one that was closer to my parents' house. And I would commute every day to school. I would drive to school, 20-minute drive, and then it was like a really small school, so my classes were smaller than my high school classes. Like, it was really small and limited in course selection. But originally I thought I wanted to go into nursing, so I enrolled in that school in the biology program, and then I would switch over to nursing. And I really feel like this is like the first sort of change that I made in my majors, because I did change majors a couple times. But I think for me, the reason I wanted to do nursing was because I didn't have enough life experience or like just wisdom to know that there were other options out there. Like, I just really didn't know what else was out there. So for me, that was like a good go-to. And then now that I'm older, like looking back on that, I'm like, yeah, that's not a career I would have really wanted. So I'm glad that I realized that along the way. So I went to that small university for a year, so 2 semesters, and I was going full-time. During that time, I also quit my job in my first semester of university. And I think that was a good choice, and I really would advise you, if you can afford it, because it is a luxury going to university in the first place, if you can afford to not work your first semester or even just like your first couple of months. The transition can be tough for some people, and I feel like you're just giving yourself a better chance to thrive and also like find some sort of enjoyment in it if you're not working as well. So that's kind of like my first bit of advice, but again, I know it's a luxury, and at this time I was living with my parents, so I could just go to school as a student full-time. So that's what I did for my first semester. I started working again at the end of my second semester of university, and I also applied to a different university at that time as well. I don't know, I think I do remember wanting to stay at the smaller school, but feeling very conflicted by the fact that there wasn't as much opportunity and just not as many people. It was just like not, I don't know, just wasn't the full university experience that I had anticipated. And I wanted to stay there because it was cheaper, but I also knew that maybe it wasn't going to give me as much as a bigger school would. So I applied to this bigger school, and I got in. And like I said, it was a bit of a decision where to go, but inevitably I ended up going to the bigger school, and it was an hour away from my parents' house, so it was like a bit more of a commute, and I wasn't driving, I was taking public transit, which was another big change for me. But it was really necessary for me to make that change because being at this college, university, was just too small. Like, it reminded me of high school. I was seeing people from my high school all the time, and I just so desperately needed time away from that. I switched my major to sociology. I realized at that time that it just wasn't for me being in bio, and I really didn't want to be a nurse. But I also was really afraid to commit to psychology because my dad is in the field and I have a lot of friends and family in that field. So I felt kind of intimidated by it, I think, initially, but also I didn't want to do what they were doing. And again, it's like the lack of wisdom and the lack of kind of just like being alive and experiencing things. I didn't realize that there were other options within that field. So I started in sociology, and right away, like, it was so much easier to make friends there. There was just like more options for people to meet, and every semester I made friends. After my first semester at this school, so into my second year now, I switched to a psychology major. I just figured, like, psychology is hella interesting, and I got into a type of psychology called forensic psychology, which is kind of combining criminology and psych, and it was fascinating to me. I freaking loved it, and I'd never felt that much passion for anything school-wise in particular for a very long time. So I thought, wow, this is amazing. Who knew there were other careers in psychology other than what I originally thought? So that's kind of where I started with that. And I also decided pretty early on that I didn't want to have a minor. And I ended up not graduating with a minor. And I don't really know, like, what I would say about this, but I didn't feel like it was necessary for what I want to do. And I still don't regret it. Like, I don't think it's really necessary. For me, when I went to this bigger school and I started kind of experiencing more options, I was kind of like, why would I limit myself? I want to try everything. And I literally did. I tried everything. I took so many weird classes, and I don't regret it because it helped me form a better idea of the world, a better idea of the careers you could have, but also like just general knowledge that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't taken those courses. So I was taking like atmospheric science, computer science, obviously I took a lot of biology, and doing that I also got a lot of my science prereqs done and out of the way. And if you guys don't know, in Canada at least, and I'm pretty sure like everywhere, but they're probably different, called something different, you have like certain requirements that you need to finish university, and it's not just like in your major, but you also have to do like a certain number of sciences, you have to do a certain number of kind of like qualitative courses and a certain number of quantitative courses, and it's sort of split up like that. And by doing a lot of sciences in my first couple of years, I got all of my science requirements done right away, which was really nice as I was kind of getting along in the upper level classes, which are a little bit more exhausting. It was nice not to have to worry about doing more sciences. I ended up graduating with more science credits than I needed because I tend to gravitate towards like those sorts of classes. And not to say that those are like my stronger classes, because that's not always the case, but that's like what I enjoy. So after my second year of university, my partner decided that he wanted to go to school as well, but not in Canada. He wanted to go to school in Boston. So he ended up applying to the Berklee School of Music in Boston, and he got in. And it was a really big moment for us because we were very young. I think we were both 19 when he got in. Yeah, and I was so excited for him, but also horrified because I was in such a good like kind of rhythm with my schooling, and I was loving it, and I was sort of just like really hitting my stride, because I feel like the first year to 2 years of being in university, it's really tough to figure out kind of where you are in the whole scheme of things, and how to do well on papers, and how to cite properly, and how to, you know, it's just a lot, and it takes a little bit of time to get your rhythm down. At least it did for me. And I think that's totally normal. So for him to be like, hey, I have this amazing opportunity to go to this amazing school, what are we gonna do? It was sort of like, well, I don't fucking know. I'm 19. How do you make decisions? You know what I mean? So that was really a turning point for me, because I decided that I wanted to go with him. As having a dual citizenship, so I can live in Canada and in the States and be employed in either countries, it was easier for me to go. I decided that I was going to take time off of school and go see a different part of the world. And this is something that I think a lot of people at the time didn't really understand in my life, because I was 19 and I was giving up, I'm going to say, my education and my potential career for a boy. And being so young, I think a lot of people didn't understand that, and I would totally feel the same. If I had someone in my life who was 19 being like, I'm gonna do this and this and this and give it all away to go move away with this person that I love, I'd be like, you're crazy. But the thing that I realized doing that was that I did not know myself at all, and I was not an adult. I was not independent. I mean, legally, yeah, at 19 you're an adult, but like, no. I had no idea about the world, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I think that's why it made it easier for me to decide to go. And I've done a whole video about living in Boston, so I don't really want to talk about it a whole lot, but at the end of the day, when it came to my education, I think a lot of people were afraid that I would never come back and never finish. That was never an option in my mind. In my mind, I was like, it's actually, I have to finish. Like, I have to do this for myself because I love school. I love studying, and I want to do things with my life. Like, I have goals, not specific goals, not like I want to do X, Y, and Z job, but I have goals to do certain things, have a certain lifestyle, and in order to do that, to get there, I need to have at least, at the very least, a bachelor's degree. So when we left, again, like I said, there was a lot of like apprehension and like, oh my gosh, maybe she won't ever come back to finish. We ended up coming back, and I went back to school pretty much right away. It felt like I was a new person in a lot of ways, and I think that taking a gap year, taking a break before going to university, between high school and university or whatever, or in between like years of university, is so necessary for most people, because I can tell you right now, coming back to it, and I think probably it's just like also getting older and like being more independent, being more of an adult, and like realizing how lucky I am to be in university in the first place. I became a lot more appreciative of my experiences. I became a lot more just like aware of how lucky I was to be there, and also like I wasn't gonna waste any opportunity, and I became more willing to say yes to things. And I started doing summer school as well. So I was doing 12 months of the year. Typically you're in school 8 months of the year in university. I was doing 12 months of the year in university, and I did that for 2 years. And up until my last semester, I was only doing 3 courses a semester, which is still considered full-time, but it's just a slightly lesser load because I was also working part-time, and I didn't want to like literally kill myself until this last semester, which I did full course load, 16 credits if you want to know, while also working, which was insane. I almost died, but I didn't, which is great. Taking time off is a great idea, either before you start or in between semesters is really great. Travel, go experience life. You know, life experience, like just seeing the world in different ways really changes things, and I think it's really important to do that to make sure you're on the right track and actually doing what you want to do, and not just doing maybe what your parents want you to do or what other pressures are telling you to do, or you don't know all the options yet. So that's sort of that. So I'm going to answer some of the questions that you guys left me on my essential oil video about university, and a lot of these are similar. I kind of looked at them, so I will answer that as best I can. How many courses did I take? So like I said, my first like year and a half, 2 years, I did 4 courses. And then for my second 2 years, I did mostly 3 courses until the last semester when I did 4. And I would say if you can afford to do 3 courses and work part-time, that's like the ideal life, working maybe like 20 hours a week, going to school with 3 courses. I think that's really manageable, but like I said in the beginning of the video, if you're just starting, I would recommend taking a few weeks off of work when you first start, or just not working at all if you can afford it, again, like I said. For the workload, I think a lot of people have a misconception that it gets progressively harder as you're in university, and I would say that that's not quite right. It's the expectations are higher, and I think in that sense it gets harder, but the actual amount of work definitely lessens as you get up. Not work, but like the amount of material you have to know really like decreases with the years you're in university. First year courses tend to be extremely information dense. You have to memorize everything. There's pretty much no like critical thinking involved. You just kind of have to like regurgitate what they tell you. As it gets kind of further along, it's more critical thinking and more like maybe in your first year you'll have like a 5-page paper, and in your last year, 4th year of university, you'll have like a 25-page paper. So it just is different. But then also you have to think like your ability also increases. So as you get further along, you're better able to write, you're quicker at reading. So kind of, you know, it all works out in the end of the day. So she's currently in her first year towards a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, and she does not see herself going to grad school. So her question is, what are your plans now that you're done with undergrad? Also, did you get a BA or BS, and are you satisfied with your choice of pursuing psych for undergrad? I got a Bachelor of Arts. A BS is a Bachelor of Science, but I got a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. I do plan on doing more schooling. Having a bachelor's of any kind really doesn't mean anything, which is like, I mean, it does, okay? It does. Okay, it does. But depending on the field you want to get into, it really usually, I would say 99.9% of the time, requires more schooling. So I've always anticipated doing more education after my bachelor's, and I want to do more schooling. I love school. But if you don't want to do more schooling, there's a lot of like government jobs and stuff that they just like you to have a bachelor's degree of some sort, because a bachelor's degree really just like tells people that you're willing to commit to something, you're a hard worker. Oh my god. If they can hear the toilet flush on this, I'm gonna LOL when I'm editing it. I'm just gonna say that. So what are my plans for after I'm done graduating? I plan on doing more schooling. I don't really want to like talk too much about what my plans are, because I don't want to like put too much out there, and then what if it doesn't happen, and then you know what I mean. So I'll just let you guys know as I go along kind of what happens, but for sure I'm planning on doing more schooling, more education, more everything. So I hope that answers that question. Another question I got was, can you talk about the future after graduation, plans, fears, etc.? So kind of the same thing. Fears, stuck in a rut, never being able to find anything that you actually like to do, but also like kind of realizing that no matter what you end up doing, you don't really like it at some points, which is sort of like nice, but it's also sad, if that makes sense. I don't know. Plans, I plan on going and doing more school, because your girl is not satisfied with just my bachelor's at this point. I just don't think that for what I want to do, the fields I want to work in, the fields I'm interested in, that having a bachelor's is enough. But right now, like immediately after graduating, my plan has just been to work, save some money because school is expensive, and I should also say that I did pay for my university, I would say 90% on my own. Working throughout university, I made it work. But I know that's, again, not an option for everyone, because I did live with my parents for most of the time. And then working, and like also just like doing more traveling maybe, and just finding myself some more. There's always more to explore. Who's Emily? I don't know.
I said never mind. Love you.
Oh my god, the theatrics in this house, I tell you. Okay, the last piece of advice, okay, whoa, Emily, get it together. The one thing that I really wish that someone had told me, and the one thing I really wish that someone had sort of like encouraged me to do more than what I was encouraged, I was actually encouraged to do the opposite of this, but I would say that don't go into university with one concrete idea of exactly what you want to do, because I feel like you're going to miss out on a lot of things if you go in just like this, with like tunnel vision, with your fucking blinders on. Oh, hi, sir. I think a lot of people do that, and then they miss out on a lot of stuff. So maybe some people think that the way I approached university was a little bit like all over the place, but I would not change it for the world, because I got to experience so many different things. I got to try like everything, and now I know for sure what I don't like and what I do like, and I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't tried all these things. So don't set yourself up for failure by just going after one thing and only having one idea of what you're capable of. Be open, say yes to opportunities, go do volunteering, go work in a lab, like experience as much as you can in university, because as soon as you leave that environment, it's very hard to get back in. You know, I don't know, you just can't really recreate those memories. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. My graduation is next month, so it's like June something, and I'm very excited it just feels very surreal to be done. Like, I still feel like I should be in school. If there's anything that I didn't get to in this video, like I said before, please just leave it down below and I can always do like a follow-up to this video, or I can just answer your comment depending on how many there are. And yeah, if you got to the end of this video, honestly, you're amazing. I hope I helped you get through all your laundry or doing your homework, which you shouldn't be doing that, but I used to, so that's fine. And I'll see you all in the next one. Follow me on Instagram. That's all. I don't go on Twitter anymore. So, yeah. Bye, guys.